Welcome back to another non-typical podcast. Today, uh, I'm joined by Corey, Torn, Garrett, and Cody. We're going to do something a little different today. Usually, we just kind of get on and talk ideas and, how our seasons went and strategies and stuff like that. Today, we're going to go in a little bit more of a debate. Uh, there's a big hot topic in Pennsylvania right now, and it's should Saturday be the opening day of rifle after Thanksgiving, or should it be Monday like it has always been? So whatever one you guys want to start off with your opinions, go
Well,
right ahead.
well, let's start off with what actually happened. So in 2019, the PGC decided to regulate Pennsylvania deer season rifle opener to start on Saturday. So that was a new thing. I mean that broke 100 maybe less years of a Monday opener. There's a lot of backlash to it. A lot of people were actually pretty upset about it, but also a lot of us were like, okay, there's a lot of more there's a whole another day of opportunity here, so let's see what we can do. But now we're going to be coming up on a third season of potential Monday opener, and now we got a couple representatives in our state congress or whatever it is that is now proposing a bill to lawfully make it a Monday opener. So once it becomes a law, then the PGC is forced to regulate it as it's always going to be a Monday opener until that law is displaced. So I don't know who wants to take it from there, but whoever.
So my question is, if they do that, are people gonna have to take off vacation for work, or is it gonna be considered a holiday for PA?
I think you're going to have to use it as a vacation day. It wouldn't be. I mean, if some companies might give it to you off as a holiday, that's not really a holiday, but I feel like the general consensus of it is you're going to have to use your vacation day for it if you wanted to hunt the first day. But I could be completely wrong. That's just what I think.
If the state's getting involved, I don't know. I feel like that they could be considered a freaking holiday.
Well, that's a whole different story. I mean, if they're going to make it a holiday, then even then, your employer can either give you that day off as a holiday pay, or you can use your vacation or your sick day, or you just don't work and don't get paid. I guess the four of us have been kind of a little bit too young to kind of recognize like us having to take days off of work to enjoy the first day of opener being when it was Monday. When the switch happened, or before that, we were in college or we were in high school. So Pennsylvania was kind of pretty good at that, to where it was considered a school day or a holiday for school. So because they pretty much knew no matter what, kids aren't going to show up.
Right. Yeah. They used that. I know growing up through elementary school and high school, that Monday was a school holiday. Like you said, you had it off. Not so much college. I mean, I don't know if where you guys went the year I went to school, I had to class, and I went to school 3 hours away. I couldn't even hunt the first day of rifle there for a year when I was away. So I don't know if where you guys went was you guys had classes off or not.
Well, I was a wildlife student, so they pretty much 100% knew no one was showing up. So they pretty much just said, hey, class is canceled, don't worry about it.
Even whenever I transferred to like non-wildlife, I know that we're in a smaller campus, so that's why we got away with that. But we had no classes even if you're like in a non-wildlife major too. But we also went to like a little tiny college.
Well, so. I think a lot of it's demographic too, right? So yes. If you're going to school potentially in the north central or northwest, northeast part of the state, there's a high likelihood that you're going to have off that Monday, whether it's an in-service day or whatever. But I would bet there's a high likelihood that if you go to school somewhere around Philly or Pittsburgh, it's unlikely that you're going to have off that Monday.
100%.
So I think it's really based on kind of the demographics. But as far as having the holiday off as an actual like day off, I don't foresee that happening, especially with the direction that kind of the hunting numbers are going, the way the world looks at hunting, that aspect.
Yeah, I agree. Especially like if you go like we were saying like, near cities. That's why a lot of these people are so against hunting. That's not even funny.
I just know, like, you guys had it off. You guys said you had classes off. My girlfriend went to school half an hour, 40 minutes from where we live. When you guys went to school, what, 15 minutes from where I'm from? Not even 10 minutes. And she went half an hour away, and they had classes on the first day as well, like, regardless of it being hunting season. And it was a small town too. Like, it wasn't just it wasn't a big city. I mean, it's considered a city, I think, but it's not anything remotely close to, like, Torn, you said, like a Pittsburgh or Philly or a state college, somewhere big like that.
But that's a Division One compared to a freaking community college. So that's where you're getting from too. The bigger the school, the bigger, like, more people you have in classes. Like my class is a total of 30 kids. You go to a Clarion class, it's probably 100 kids, 150 kids. That's the difference too.
Right, and we kind of got to realize, like, in Pennsylvania and stuff, we have about 13 million people as residents in Pennsylvania, and about, even including like out of state license, I just did the math real quick. We have about 857,000 license holders in the state of Pennsylvania. So that population divided by our overall population, that's 15%. So I don't foresee, if they're gonna move it back to Monday, I don't foresee anyone really sticking to that being a holiday. Employee wise, you're gonna get the off chance to where some colleges and maybe most rural high schools are gonna be like, yeah, go ahead, you're not gonna show up anyway.
Yeah, so basically it's just going to turn into you're going to have to take your vacation day like they used to before it came to.
And here's a question too: like, how many of you guys just took one day? Like, I know that I remember, I took off until like I really got into sports. I was off Monday to Wednesday, just because of travel, having to deal with a deer, et cetera, et cetera. Like, do you know a whole lot of people that literally just take Monday off and that's it?
I know. I mean, I guess it depends. Just say if the Monday opener happened this past year, seeing as though I didn't get a deer in archery, I would probably be more willing, if I had days, to take off maybe a full week or even till Wednesday. But it's just very situational. It's just say I got a buck in archery season, I probably wouldn't even worry about hunting the first day of rifle.
Me personally, even if I did get a buck, I'd probably still take off the first day of Monday because it's just like a family tradition for me.
But are you taking 2 days for prep? Like, you know what I mean? Like, in case you shoot something on Monday, you're having Tuesday off to be able to prep and deal with it.
I am lucky enough that I'm in like in a rural area where I'm on a farm. So if I had a camp up north and I was in that situation, yes. So I'll look at it as me being a person going out of state hunting. Yes, I would take off the 2 days. So I'd have at least, if I'm going out of state or if I'm going to drive somewhere to hunt, I'm going to at least take off 3 to 4 days to hunt easily.
I mean, I would agree with that, but I can see what Torn's saying too. Like, if you had to travel, luckily, we don't have to travel that far compared to some people that might live here and travel an hour away to hunt. Not only, you shoot your deer at dark, then you have a drag plus an hour drive home. Plus then it's like, oh boy, I got to get this started. And I mean, most people probably are taking 2, 3, like that second day, that Tuesday or that following Wednesday off as well, just to deal with their deer if they were lucky enough to harvest one on that first Monday.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that's overlooked is it's not so much that it's and I would be really curious to see if this is in the data. How many people are taking off multiple days as compared to a singular day?
I looked through that data today and I don't believe, I mean, I could have overlooked it. I think Moss has it pulled up in front of him right now, but I don't think it was in it. The big thing I saw in it was people were saying about how they had to use a vacation day or had work obligations for that Monday. It didn't really expand past
Right. So I'm
that.
looking at. I just did a quick search, and the first chart that came up is, what are the main reasons you support the regular firearms deer season opening day being on Saturday after Thanksgiving? And in parentheses, it says asked of those who support the Saturday opener. So, of the people who support the Saturday opener, 51% have work obligations on Monday / would need vacation.
50% of people that support the Saturday opener still need to take off.
Well, the big thing I'd say that people are doing there's probably scouting, because a lot of rifle hunters, they want to go find their spot for the first day, and they're out in the woods before freaking season even opens up, and they're running around looking for spots to hunt. And then another thing is, I think people are still in the family tradition that they want to take off that Friday or Thursday to go up and party and mess around and, just be around and drink beer and have a good time, basically, is what it's coming down to it.
And I agree with you. I mean, I myself enjoy a good going to camp and slugging some beers. But
You enjoy
that
a
is
good beer too, is what you're saying.
one or two. That's about it, max. I won't drink any more than one or two. But you literally brought up one of the greatest points is I feel like most of the people, and I get it's tradition to go to camp after Thanksgiving, and you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then again, like you said, just to drink. You can go up. What about, Friday night? Yeah, you can have a couple beers. You don't have to get plastered. You can Saturday night after you hunt, can have a couple beers. Don't have to get plastered. Now that there's the Sunday, can hunt Sunday. Like you can still have a camp life and go to camp. You just now don't have. You now just can't get blacked out like you would at a camp.
Let me ask you, the five of us, right? How many of us have off Monday? Like that's part of our work schedule. Okay.
Nope. Not a single. I mean, I don't. I mean,
No,
I could work it in, but I'd have to work extra hours on one day.
I do, just because of the amount of people I work with that are going to take off that day. But
I'm talking on your regular work schedule.
They don't.
no,
So none of us have off, right?
no.
So we could also look at it from an economic standpoint as well. If you're taking vacation or you're taking the day off and doing an unpaid day, if you make $15 an hour, it's going to cost you, the employer, $240 for 2 days, right? So multiply that across however many participants there are in rifle. You look at the cost that it's having on the economy, that's drastic. And then you mentioned before, Corey, that like 50% of the people don't have to take off for Saturday. So you're cutting that number down in half immediately. That's huge.
I want to piggyback off that as well. It follows the same thing, like you said, economically. You have business shutting down. Not only are they paying their employees not to work, they're losing business then because, half my employees aren't going to show up today because it's rifle season. We're going to shut down for the day. And, there goes money out of their pocket. Now, don't get me wrong, Mondays for most businesses aren't necessarily the busiest days, but still you're losing money. You're losing income, and then you're losing it paying your employees to have a day off as well.
Well, and that too. I mean, it depends on, what type of work you do. But for my instance, just say if I take a day off, there's no one else doing my job. So therefore, the production, whatever, if I'm doing feed or alcohol, no one else is doing that. So that puts the whole business a day behind. So from an economic standpoint, if I was a business owner, I would be looking at it as, yeah, Saturday openers, hell of a lot better for my business than Monday.
What if you were the business that's up north and all their businesses that 2 weeks of rifle season with people coming in town? Because
You have nobody to work though.
Exactly. Like Torn just said, you have no one at work. You're going to have to close down regardless because all your employees are going to be off to hunt.
Yeah, but a lot of businesses up there, whenever the Monday was going to, like with the Monday hunt, they made all their money that weekend before, like that Friday, Saturday before, and Friday,
Not-
Saturday, Sunday before.
I think it depends on what type of business you look at. So I can see retail shops losing some business for those days, but they can also make it up on Sunday or Monday, depending on how long people are there, or if they come up Friday. I know myself included, I scramble the day before a season opener. I need a gun knife. I lost mine in archery season. I'm going out Friday to go get it because Saturday's the opener. Now if you're looking at like maybe a service shop, as in like a restaurant or any like a bar, I would almost guarantee most people are still going out. They're still going out Friday. They're going to have some beers. They're going to have some food. They're going to go hunt Saturday. They're going to come back Saturday night or go somewhere else Saturday night. And then it's just a repetitive thing. I really don't think they're losing business. I haven't seen any specific data to show that, but there's no doubt that there's going to be a difference between revenue from the Saturday opener to the Monday. I'm not saying positive and I'm not saying negative.
But with your dad,
I did a quick extrapolation based off of resident licenses sold in 2021. Going off of a $15 an hour job, there's $132 million potentially being lost, right? You cut that in half and it comes out to be 66 million. Like that, I think that is drastic. And for the audience, like that's kind of just spitballing and throwing out some numbers there. But going off of what Corey said and with what you said too, Cody, it's like, what's the lesser of the two evils, right? So you can go up maybe Friday or Saturday, whenever you get up to camp, and you'll have that generation of revenue, or you have people that are just going out to dinner on a Friday, or they're getting breakfast, or they're getting lunch. But I think what's also not being considered in that analogy is how much influence is there in camps now? Like, how alive really are camps now compared to 15 years ago?
I agreed. And speaking of going to the data that you guys have pulled up in front of you, it's shown like there's a statistic that how big has your camp grown from people under 40. You think about it, most camps you go to, I'm not trying to, it's going down. Not only that, I'm not trying to like discriminate against old people, but most of it is your older guys that are retired and have like, oh, I'm going to go up to camp, and they go up to camp. Like, your younger generation isn't necessarily going to camp and doing that. Yeah, they might go up, but I feel like it's not as big as what it used to be.
Right. So I'm looking at a couple charts right now from the data, and obviously we're gonna shove this link in the show notes for all the listeners to look at later on. So this first chart says, when you travel to hunt on opening day, do you go to a hunting camp? 48% said yes, 52% said no. The chart directly below that says, when you travel to hunt on opening day, do you go to a hunting camp? 21% says they go to they hunt at their hunting camp the opening day. 23% says they travel to hunt on opening day, but not at camp. And then 56% of hunters in Pennsylvania hunt near their residence on opening day.
So that's basically 75%, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. That don't go to a camp or don't own a camp.
When you look at this report, right, you can make statistics look however you want it to look based on the information that you portray and the people that you survey. But what is the likelihood, and maybe this is in there because I haven't read the report completely, what is the likelihood for bias of responses in this report based on people that have more stock in trying to move the Saturday opener to Monday? For example, people that go to camps, older aged people. This is how this data can be biased and give a false perception to the public.
I know that in that data there is a section. I wonder if it's one of the ones I've screenshotted here since I forgot my notes. But age is a big one that's like strongly support it. Yeah, right here. Do you support or oppose the regular firearms deer season opening day beginning on Saturday after Thanksgiving? Strongly support was 47%, and they do not hunt at a camp, while 34% hunt at a camp on opening day. And then if you go the whole way down to strongly oppose, 27% of them, of people that strongly oppose it, hunt at a camp on opening day. And then there's one with age in there as well, that it's like 55 and older, or I know the age gaps. One of them's 55 and older. One of them's like 18 to 34. Like, I'd have to look. I'll dig into it while you guys continue to talk.
Do any of you guys know off the top of your head if for the demographics, the responses are evenly split? So, but you're saying no, Corey? It's not set up that way?
Oh, well, I don't know distribution wise what was sent out. I just know what was completed. I know the older it went up in the age demographic, the more responses were turned in.
Right. So there is no, all right, we have 25 responses from 55 plus, and we have 25 responses from 18 to 30.
Right. Because I know when I looked at this earlier, I saw that like the 4 of our age demographic, which was like 18 to 24, I think, it was actually very low in responses. And I'm trying to find it right now.
That's skewed data to me.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And I feel like a big issue with it is I'm pretty sure when they did these surveys, they did it through the mail, which I don't know about you guys, but I don't mail things out anymore. I'm email, I'm text message, I'm, direct messaging. Like
Everything's digital.
Everything's digital, where if you look at the data, the most people that seem to have answered are your older generations, where everything's through the mail. There's no, like, they're not digital.
They're not digitized.
Yes.
So, and that's the thing that's crazy to me. So the data that the PGC is providing to the public, which is on their government website, 60% of who turned in their survey still voted in favor for the Saturday opener. So if the majority of the older age classes demographic turned in their stuff, the majority of everyone is still voting for Saturday opener.
Yeah, and the 60, what is it, 27% split, right? There's 13% in there missing. You add that 13% to the 60. I'm not saying that it would be that way. 73% versus 27 looks a lot different than which it could go the other way too.
Right. So I don't know, Garrett, I know you have something to say. Before we kind of direct this into not a different direction, but kind of look at it from a different standpoint, what do you have to say?
I personally think that it will end up staying Saturday hunting because vacation's huge. Not a lot of people get vacation. Like, it's not like you get it, like a lot of people have vacation more than 5 weeks. Like, the older population does, but us younger kids, we don't got a lot of vacation. So I think it's going to end up staying Saturday if the younger people end up voting. But
well, and that's the thing. Like,
I didn't vote for it last time.
Well, that's the thing. The residents of Pennsylvania do not vote. We have state representatives who voice our opinion for us. So we would have to take matter in our own hands, writing letters to our district representative, to then hope to persuade him, or not to persuade him, but in hopes that the majority of his constituents are telling him to do one thing. So say 51% is telling him to vote on this bill to keep it Saturday opener. And
Yeah.
we're all hoping that he votes that way. But because he has pretty much all the power of the vote, 51% may be telling him, hey, we all want Saturday opener. But he could go and say, no, me personally, I want Monday opener, and that's what he's going to vote. So, and that's the thing that kind of sucks. And that's kind of a direction I wanted to bring up. But before we do that, does anyone else have anything to add to that? Go ahead, Garrett.
Do you guys think there's big donors, like people that donate to the PGC that make calls? Like they basically make calls also?
I don't think they make, well, they might make donations to the PGC. But in this matter, the PGC has they have an influence, but again, and we'll talk about this later, this is all governmental. The PGC is ran off of laws that, the politicians are saying you can regulate this or you cannot regulate this. Game Commission goes off of that. Now, what I'm going to tell you is I would almost bet that there's some high stakes into those politicians, like lobbyists and whatnot. Be like, hey, I'll donate 100 grand to your charity event if, you make sure to vote for Monday opener. Not saying that's happening, but that it's definitely able to happen.
I think it's very possible.
I bet
I feel
is.
like it happens in all politics. So who's to say this doesn't happen here? Like you
Right.
said, a big donor comes in and says, "Listen, I'm not telling you which way to vote, but here's $100,000. I really like this, and I think you should too." Now, like you said, not saying it's happening, but odds are, I feel like it definitely is.
And I think it goes even further than that. I think they are 100% saying vote this way. It is absolutely occurring. That's how politics work in America.
So, one point I really wanted to bring up. Well, Garrett, you had something?
So does our vote even, or does our voice really matter at this point?
Well, and that's the thing to look at politics in general. You want to believe they do, but we really never know. And we're not going to dive into politics here.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this kind of really focused on the Monday versus Saturday opener.
Well, but hold on. Can I interrupt you real quick, Corey?
No, you're good.
So, like you said, I don't want to really go down the politics train, but it is absolutely imperative as hunters to make sure that we are writing our state representative, our House representative, because if we don't, you're going to let somebody else speak for you. And ultimately, then you're just giving up your right in general.
Right. And I know in our wildlife classes, it was a wildlife law and all that other jazz. They actually made us write state representatives. They gave us 3 topics and said, pick one of these topics, write and tell your representative to vote a certain way because of your personal opinion. This is why I want my representative to vote on this bill in this matter. And yeah, and obviously I want to believe that most representatives are going to follow their constituents. But again, money can play a big factor. All right. So my biggest point for this podcast is coming right now. We have to look at this as the Pennsylvania Game Commission is a business itself. So they're going to try to persuade the government to help them out to obviously raise more money. And obviously that money goes into conservation and running the whole jazz up in Harrisburg. So that being said, I would want to believe that is why the Saturday opener actually began. And we can look at this in year-to-year data from, what year is this? 2010, there was approximately 925,000 licenses sold. And it just started going down and down over the years to where, let's see, 2018, the year before the Saturday opener, there was 855,000 Pennsylvania residents that bought a hunting license. So, not just residents, there's also non-residents as well, but there's 855,000 licenses sold for Pennsylvania. That being said, and you can still see this to this day, the Game Commission is, we want to give the land of opportunity. We want to get more youth hunters involved. We want to get just more opportunity for the hunting, the people that go out and hunt. They want to give the opportunity most that they can. So, and that's why I believe the Saturday opener came. One, because they can sell more licenses, because honestly, I know a lot of people that they only hunt weekends. They don't have time. If you're a 9-to-5er, you can only hunt weekends. And before all this Sunday hunting jazz, you were left with what, two Saturdays if the opener was on Monday. Now that it's on Saturday, you'd be left with 3 days. If you're just a rifle hunter, is honestly that's a struggle to go kill a deer unless you're on them pretty good. But I mean, again, we got to look at this as the Game Commission is a business. They got to make their money.
Going off what you said there about, you're selling license, like you said, it's a business. As a business perspective, looking on a business side of things, would it not make sense for a business if you have people coming from out of town that are here, say they come Monday to Monday, you're traveling out of state, you're going back to your parents or your grandparents or whoever in Pennsylvania for Thanksgiving. So say you go Monday to Monday, would it not make sense to open it on a Saturday? If I had to travel out of state and I, mind you, now it's 2 days, but say even if it's 1, I'd still buy a license and go hunt with my family on Saturday. Why wouldn't you? You're here. You planned on being here anyways. There's your time outdoors with your family. If you have it on a Monday, those people not going to buy a license because they have to leave to get back home, to get back to work and get back to their house and, back to their daily life. So
right. Yeah. And you got to look at it like a general hunting tag, get your buck tag, small game, and I think the turkey tag, right?
Yeah, you would get spring turkey, fall turkey, buck
Small
tag, and a small game.
Yeah. So
what's that run you out of state for PA?
I don't know about out of state. In state, I think it's like $16 to $20.
It's cheap. Yeah.
That's cheap. So if we're losing numbers in hunters ourselves, if our general public of hunters is downgrading, that means eventually, if it gets to a certain point, our prices of tags is going to have to shoot up in price. And honestly, I don't like spending more money than I have to. So obviously, I would in favor having more hunters.
Would you rather have more hunters, or would you rather have more opportunities? Plus, I honestly think
I think those two things, Garrett, go hand in hand almost.
yes.
Just say there's Pennsylvania randomly just does 3 days of deer hunting. There's no archery. There's only rifle, and you only get 3 days. You're not going to have a whole lot of people. No. But with our system now, and if we keep adding more opportunity on top of what we have, there's going to be like light bulbs in people's head, like, hey, I can finally get back into hunting after 10 years. I finally got the time. They're giving me one more Saturday. It makes it worth me spending $20.
We're going off of now. Yes, there's more opportunity with the Sunday and the Saturday opener, for sure. Second thing coming off of this is, too, the older people that we were talking about, the big reason why you see them getting back into it is now I can take my grandkids out that are younger, and I couldn't before because they can only go 1 or 2 Saturdays and they want to go with their dads probably more than anything. Now I could be there with them and more times on Saturdays and Sundays. And you see your older generations getting out to take their grandkids out because some dads don't even go out hunting anymore. They're just not for it. So that's another thing that we're seeing spike with the older people too, and why they're for Saturday hunting also.
I agree with you there. It gives them more time, but I mean, I could be wrong, but looking at that data, the we keep going back to talking 55 and older. I mean, what's retirement age? Some places 55, depending if you're in a good place to retire, 62, whatever it is. Most of
I think 62, 65 is probably the average if you can retire.
right. So there you are. Your numbers, a lot of those older generation numbers, how many of them are actually retired that it doesn't matter to them? I'm retired. I can hunt Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday if I want to. But going back,
And maybe that's why they are in favor of Monday, because they know there's going to be less hunters in the woods.
exactly. But then you get into the, do we cater to the old people, or do we want new generations of a dying sport to get into it? And the way to get them into it is, give them that. Here's a weekend. Here's 3 Saturdays.
Well, I think you need to find a happy medium, because
I agree. I
without
don't.
that older generation, what's the new generation going to learn off of?
That's what I mean. There's pros and cons. I mean, you can play back and forth all day long with it. But going back to the license, I looked it up. It's $20.97 for a normal license in PA, which I never spend $20. I spend like 120. But and an out of state simple tag is $100. It was like 101.19 or something like that, which seems like a lot. Which, I mean, I know Garrett, Cody, you guys might remember, what did we pay when we went to Tennessee and we hunted 2 days? It was over $100.
I think it was 212.
Nah, I don't think it was that much.
You sure?
I thought it was only like 150, or I could be mistaken.
No, it was probably, I'm gonna go 175, 180. It was almost $200.
Okay, it might have been a little more than 150, but that's what I mean.
It was also more because we picked a quota hunt area too, and that's the difference between PA and other states. That's a different rabbit hole to talk about. But basically, I'll say this: when you go to hunt other states, some places you have to pay to hunt that game lands or that WMU. You know what I'm saying? To hunt, that's what we had down in Tennessee. So that was more money too. So that's how they got more money off you also.
Okay, so say we didn't pay for that, we're paying 150 then, probably.
No, it was like 180 because we didn't pay for that. Whenever you add it on, like Garrett was saying,
Oh,
it was,
yeah, then
it
it
was
was
like 200.
something, right? Okay, so $180. We paid $180 to hunt. What was it? 2 legit days?
3 days in freaking Tennessee. It was a 3-day license.
Yeah. So, and I mean, $100. I mean, I've blown money, $100 on stupider stuff. If I was from out of state, I'd come up and, what's $100? To spend time with loved ones and then outdoors doing something you like.
So the out of state price for a general hunting tag in PA is $101.97. So that's from what I've seen doing research at other times. That's Pennsylvania is one of the cheapest out of state hunters licensed. So again, Pennsylvania is the land of opportunity. They like the travelers. That's part of the hunting tradition. I mean, the area I'm located in, people come from New York, Ohio. They come from all over the place just to hunt this area I'm at. And you got to think, like, if you restrict it to just Monday, we're losing a great deal of that sales and people using our great resources.
What's the number difference, boss? Because I don't have the chart for me. What's the number difference from COVID year in 20? I think it was 2019. We said to before the COVID year for out of state hunters. Is there a difference?
So the year before, which was 2018, was 855,000. The year of COVID and the year of the Saturday opener was 860,000. So we increased by a little over 5,000 sales.
Do you think that's because people had off though? Because whenever COVID happened, people had off a lot more. People could work from home, could do whatever. But I also think the numbers are going down because of population. Our population is dropping, having less kids, It's just slowly going to decline over time.
If you look like cities where hunting not that big, you usually have a younger population in city areas, in suburbs of cities, where if you look up here, like where we're from, it's typically an older population around. So like that definitely I feel like has numbers, it plays a little factor in the numbers as well.
So, and to go back to Cody saying 2019 was the COVID year, the COVID year was actually
2020.
January 2020. So it was right at the end of 2019. So that increase, the license sales, July, you would normally June, July, you'd normally go get your deer tag because of doe licenses and whatever. So the 2019 sales are going to be what, 7 months before COVID really hit.
Right. And then, but also in July, like you said, July 11th. And the only reason I know that's when hunting licenses are due is because that's my birthday. So it was always right around my birthday. Doe tags were due. You had to get them in the mail to get sent out. Things were opened in July. Like in that summer, those summer months, they opened up, at least around here. I don't know about cities torn, but stuff opened around here. Like bars were closed for the longest time. And then, I turned 21 in 2020. Bars were open for my birthday, and a week after my birthday, they shut back down because COVID spiked back up.
Let's go back. So 2019, we can consider COVID year then, is what Moss is trying to say. So 2020 would be considered COVID year for us. So what's the 2020 year?
So the 2020 year,
That basically 2019 was because of the Saturday openers why we had the $5,000. I mean, $5,000 increase.
So the 2020 year, we had a 19,000 increase from the year before. So we had 880,000 compared to 860.
And right there's your big winner.
Yeah, COVID had a very good increase on that. And the very cool actually, and not to, this is the part I actually like to this data. After COVID, our numbers almost went exactly back to 2018 numbers, which was 857,000, where the year before the Saturday opener was initiated was 855,000.
How many were out of staters for the?
I don't know.
It doesn't show you on that.
I can look, but I don't think you're right. Non-resident.
How much did it go up?
We'll just do the non-resident adult. Holy cow!
It went up
What
like
was it?
15,000.
Exactly.
Well,
So here's
you got to look at it. You got to look at it like this: COVID, the year of COVID, you can't cross state borders. Okay, so 2020 we had about 5,000 out-of-state license sales for a resident adult or
That's
non-resident
bullshit.
adult.
That's bullshit. Bullshit. You couldn't cross the line. Hey, I was crossing the line whenever COVID was going down and go
Okay,
turkey
but
hunting.
what I'm saying is you're not allowed. You're not supposed to.
They don't care. They want to go kill a deer. That's what COVID ruined everything. I'm not gonna say anything. It didn't ruin everything, but it helped out the hunting people, like for the PGC to get more money. That's what happened.
What I'm saying is that year is irrelevant. 2019 year, we had 48,000. The year before, we had 46. The 2021, we had 53. So since the Saturday opener, we haven't had an increase, other than the COVID year, we have had an increase in out-of-state adult sales.
Because it's the cheapest around is a big thing too.
Well, that's fine.
You guys think it's because of our bucks also? Our bucks are definitely increasing. It's being more advertised than ever. There's more people advertising it every year. Like that has a big thing to do with it too. I don't think our out-of-state numbers are going up because of COVID also.
No, I agree with you. That's a big thing is, PA was never known to produce large deer. And now you look like every year there's big bucks killed and a lot of them. But not only that, PA, I don't know if this is a correct statement. I mean, it could be completely wrong, but PA, I feel like is also one of the only, not only per se, but one of the biggest states that has the most game lands available. Like think of how many game lands there are everywhere across the state of Pennsylvania. Like, no matter where you're from, you come in from New York, Allegheny National Forest. Come in from Ohio, there's game lands out that way. Like, there's game lands everywhere. There's more opportunity compared to, like, you could go on game lands and not run into anyone. That game lands we hunted in Tennessee, Cody and I rode around because every spot we wanted to go to, there was someone, and it wasn't that big. It was like a mile and a half loop from gate to gate, if that.
Yeah, but the big problem about Tennessee is, in the difference between Tennessee and PA is, you got to look at this, and this is way off topic now that we're talking about this.
Number 7 or 9 in public land, just to let you know that. Okay, I know this. It's 9 or 7 or maybe 13, but we're in the top. We're top numbers. Like, we're not low.
The big
There you
thing
go.
what I'm
We're
getting
still.
at, yeah. So the big thing I'm getting at with Tennessee is you could drive around everywhere. In PA, you got to walk, and people don't like walking. They're starting to open up more gates now for people to have more opportunity for CWD areas, but other than that, honestly, you got to walk to go where you want to hunt, and a lot of people don't like that.
But still, like Garrett just said, we are whatever number. He threw 4 numbers out there, but we're still.
Number. He said 24. We 24, Torn?
Yeah.
Or do you not know?
We're 24th out of public land.
Really? I thought it was 7 or
Okay, so 24th. So I mean, that's not as high as I thought it was.
I thought we were
Yeah,
pretty...
but you gotta think of our land mass, you know, where we have a pretty high population for the total number of acres. But comparing that to our public lands, we're pretty good. You know, 24 is pretty good for Pennsylvania.
You know what's surprising? New Jersey's above us. But I wanted to rewind here real quick. So, Corey, you were talking about non-resident usage, right? Non-resident purchasing licenses. I think, Cody, you had something to say about that too. Non-resident license sales haven't decreased since the Saturday opener at all. Even the COVID year, it's all been increased. Does that have a correlation? Like I was looking at the deer hunting data, and one of the surveys is, does anything impact you hunting the first day? 83% of people said nothing impacts me. So, like, if we're really kind of,
are we talking Saturday? Or are we talking Monday now? We're talking Saturday, correct?
This is just in general as far as like an opener is concerned, regardless of whether it's a Monday or a Saturday. Right. 83% of people said no, it had nothing. Wait, actually, hold on. Let me just double check that. This is 2022 or 2020. This would have been the COVID year. 83% of the people said no, nothing impacted my decision in hunting the opener. If the Saturday opener is not impacting 83% of the people surveyed in this, why in the hell would we ever consider changing it?
Like we talked about, it comes to one thing and one thing only: it's politics, like we said already.
Well, and the politician who we're not going to name, he's actually from Punxsutawney. He's a business owner, and he's been running his realm for quite a while now. And he's the one that's introducing it. He actually introduced the bill on Monday, so it's going to take a week or two to get through the House of Reps, and then our Senate, and then eventually our governor to sign off. So, and that raises a big flag for me as the business. I don't know what business he runs. As to, you know, like we said earlier, why would I rather pay someone to go hunt and not get any labor out of them instead of having a Saturday where they have off anyway, and I'm not paying them to go hunt?
Did that bill go through the Game and Fisheries Committee yet? Do you know, Corey?
I know. So from what I read, he like he sent out like an email or a notice saying, "Hey, I'm going to introduce this." I don't know. I think he was introducing it to the House on January 3rd, which was 2 days ago. So other than that, there's no update. There's nothing.
Because doesn't it have to get approved by the Fish and Game committee board before it goes to the House?
I would assume, and now that you're saying that, I'm pretty sure the guy who's establishing this bill is on the board.
Right.
I don't think that
I'm 100% sure.
it's not gonna. I don't think it will pass. Personally, that's just my personal opinion.
If it gets through the Fish and Game committee, that's pretty scary.
You know, it's rigged.
That's real scary. Let's put it that way. I mean, if we're going off of science and we're going off of the industry of hunting being ran in this state as a business, you look at let's just say we're all business owners, right? Do you want the customer that potentially has a lifetime of 25 years, or do you want the customer that maybe only has half of that? Does that make sense? So like I'm talking as like far as like PhD, like everybody that has anything to do with making money off of hunting. What is the value of us, our age group, as hunters to them versus somebody that's 50, 55? We're going to be investing much more money in the long term, I would think, than somebody that is in the later part of their life.
I wonder, and this is just my opinion off this. I wonder if it's because they're scared that the bigger bucks, per se, are getting shot off, so they're trying to bring it back to Monday to try to get the bigger buck population back up. I think that's another reason that's coming off it too.
Dude, I think there's some validity there. Kind of in some of the circles that I've been hanging around, there's been talk about trying to reduce the archery season because of it not being fairly split between archery hunters and rifle hunters. Now, again, this is a totally different rabbit hole that we don't necessarily have to go down.
Right. Like you said, it's a different rabbit hole, but that's definitely one of the arguments is people are like, well, archery has 3 months, 2 months, whatever it is, and we get 2 weeks. How is that fair? But Cody, back to your point of I don't think it's necessarily the bigger bucks are concerned about why it might get moved. I think it's the deer population as a whole. On Saturday, obviously numbers go up, more deer killed. Monday, numbers go down. You only get 2 Saturdays, that could have some play in it.
Now, if they do open this Monday, are they just going to make it another week longer? Or are they just going to cut it short? Have you ever thought that? So what if they did the Monday and then they did a Saturday, Sunday, and then the following week they do a Saturday, Sunday?
So, like, that's an interesting point, right? If you're going to make the argument that the extra Saturday and Sunday, or just the weekend hunt, whatever you want to call it, is reducing the deer herd, where's the data to show that?
If I'm not mistaken, I heard that they do it every 4 years, and it should be coming up this year.
Well, I'm not even necessarily talking about with like your statement there, Cody. Like this is me trying to discredit this this informational packet, like, which is going to be swaying people's minds in making their decisions on whether to keep the opener for Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, so I looked up the deer harvest and I finally found a chart that is easy to do the math. 2019 total deer harvested was 389,000. Okay. 2020 435,180.
Say 2020 again.
435,180 deer.
Okay.
So there's about 50,000 more deer harvested. Where 2018 compared to 2019, there was 15,000 more.
Well,
I have a, I have,
that was a Saturday, like we already talked about already.
I have a
Saturday
question
opener.
in this data as well, though. Is this data all deer season, archery rifle late season, or is it
Yep.
okay?
Total
It's
deer
the-
harvest.
It's the whole
Okay.
entire year. They don't do it like that, which they should, but they won't. The PGC just does the whole total year. There's so many things that they could go better about how they do their harvest reports, but they don't. Does it say? I don't think it does. I think they just do total harvest. Correct?
No, I mean they give you percentages per, and I don't have that pulled up right now. Like they would say 60% of the overall buck harvested was harvested in rifle season.
What's the percentage increase in hunter population? Roughly.
Didn't we already say it?
Give
For
me a
this?
minute. No, we haven't. We
We
have
did.
licenses sold, and that's probably the only data where that's going to be close enough.
And we said it was like,
Let me see
look,
here.
I think it was like 20,000, wasn't it?
Because that'll be interesting
So
if,
okay.
if it's directly correlated.
So, and this is I've just been basing the data that I'm saying off of total general hunting licenses sale, because that is what your buck tag is given with. So again, licenses sold including non-resident 20. Let me see here. 2019 was 860,000. 2020 879,000.
10,000 more.
Almost 20.
Corey, put the numbers in the chat. Put the harvest rate for
Okay.
19, and then the harvest rate for 20, and then also the hunter population. I want to see what the success rate is.
I have a question with this too. I mean, it kind of has to do with the topic, not really. What year? So the harvest rates, how big were they apart? 20,000? More than that? Am I
I think it was
wrong?
like 2025, if I remember correctly, right?
Okay, something in those.
What was the
ballpark
question?
range.
I was typing.
No, you're fine. The harvest rate. How big of a difference is the harvest rate?
Almost 50.
Okay, almost 50,000. What, like, with the DMAP tags, you like that's another thing to look at. Because the doe tags along with DMAP versus like people out there getting 6-7 doe tags a year and different things, that could play a factor if they sold more DMAP tags in 2020 or whatever year had the highest. I don't remember.
There's a lot of variability that goes into it, like the DMAP tags. You also have to factor in like somebody like Garrett's going to shoot 7 deer, and somebody else might shoot none. You know what I mean? So the best way to do it, as far as I know, is really just trying to break it down with the assumption that this is the percentage of deer harvested off of X amount of license sales.
So another thing that we don't talk about either is, and this is why data really doesn't do any justice in my eyes to a point. How many people are actually reporting their harvest?
That's a good point too.
That's a big one that I've always wondered, and I would say only. Now I'm spitballing here. I would bet only 60% report.
I don't even say that.
I would be surprised if it's that high.
Buddy, I haven't started reporting harvest till they started handing out tickets for people not reporting their harvest. Honestly, whenever they started getting the Facebook jail, people like I know people that were posting their bucks on Facebook and they're getting fines in the mail because they never reported their harvest, and that's the only reason why they got them is because they posted a picture of their deer with the tag in their ear. They never reported their harvest, and that's the only reason why I started reporting my tags is because I really don't want to fine because I didn't report my harvest. And if they would start fining more people would start reporting more, is what I'm trying to get at too, but they don't.
Well, I mean, all data, you can always find something wrong with the data. This gives us a general consensus of what everyone's basing their data off of. So, and Torn just put, and I'll let him say it because he's more analytical than I am. So again, we're gonna go over the 2019 versus 2020 success rate of just killing any deer, antlerless or antlered. Licenses sold in 2019 was 861,000. The harvest rate in 2019 was 389,000. And the harvest rate, or the license sold in 2020 was 879,000. Harvest rate was about 435,000. And do you want to say it, Torrin, or you want me to say it?
It doesn't matter. I mean, just to quickly go over it, in 2020, the success rate was 49%. If we're under the assumption that total license sales compared to total harvest rate, and then in 2019, success rate was 45%. I would say that without running the math, there is no statistical difference between those two harvest rates.
No,
So-
a 4%. I mean, that's almost nothing when you take in all the factors of people not reporting, etc.
Another thing that we can go off of is weather, because I know for a fact the 1 year the weather was terrible for that 1 year compared to the next year. Because if it's pouring down rain, we all know darn well there's fair weather hunters that aren't going to be out in pouring down rain. I remember that 1 year for a fact. In the past 4 years, it was just torrential downpouring the whole entire weekend. Nobody was going out hunting.
There's a statistic in the data that has the weather as a factor. I'll get it pulled up here and read it.
What do you think, Garrett? You're not talking very much.
There's a lot of heads here talking, so a lot of information's already getting spit out, and I agree with a lot of it. I think that we're all really right on top of it, to be honest.
So, Eric, I found. Did you find it? Okay, I found it. The question, and this is actually very surprising. The question is, did weather conditions impact or influence your decision to hunt on opening day of regular firearm deer season this year? Meaning 2021 is this data. Out of 1,500 people surveyed, 11% said yes and 89% said no. But again, this is going to differ because this is 2021 data.
But also, like,
And it depends. If you're only
I
looking at
agree.
one day, that 1 day out of the year, it could be snowing 1 year. Next year, it's sunny and 75. Then the following year, it's raining.
Well, those are variables. You rule those variables out.
Yeah.
But yeah, weather maybe impacts game movement, but it's not something that's measurable, right?
Yeah,
Well,
I'd say
I think it impacts.
harvest numbers is what I'm going to say.
Well, I
Right.
think it impacts person's decisions more than anything.
Well, actually, based on the data, I don't know that that's necessarily true. So if we're seeing like that 86%, there's another chart that said 83% for 2020. There was no impact on them hunting the first day, weather included. So if over 80% of the hunting population is participating in the first day, I would say that it's safe to say that weather is not an impact on participation, at least for the majority.
Well, here's the chart right below it, and I just noticed it. Did weather conditions impact or influence your decision to not hunt on opening day? 10% yes, 90% no. But that was only surveyed over 234 people.
So weather's out of it completely. That's all we could say off this, but that's just another way that we could talk about that also.
But to your point too, I would be very curious to see what the harvest rate is on a rainy or shitty weather day on a Monday compared to a nice day. Like, we're looking at the total harvest of the entire season, So it's not quite apples to apples. Like it might be like Golden Delicious and Granny Smith's, but it still gives an idea of what it is.
I think the big thing is that we don't, and we personally can't see this data, but if we all, I think that it'd be cool if we did it personally for the next 4 years or however long we do the harvest data. We mark down like the weather for the whole entire season, like the crappy weather to the good weather, you know? So I feel like that'd be something to go with. I wish they did the harvest rate for rifles, but like the harvest reports for rifle and those separately. So we've seen, because if you're going off, more people are going to hunt rifle, and that's just a guarantee. If we went off the weather for rifle season only, I guarantee that there's less people out on a rainy, nasty opening day than they're going to be out for maybe an hour, but I guarantee the harvest rate is going to be way different. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, so there's a breakdown of reasons that people did not hunt the opening day on 2021. The top answer, which was 40% of the 234 people, was lack of time. The second reason was age or health. The next one was crowding. And only about 5% said does not like Saturday opener. So, and that's the thing, this data, they show that they get a good consensus of the population of hunters. You know, they have the total breakdown of, you know, surveys submitted to each county. And hopefully through editing, I'm going to pop these charts up as we're talking about them. But realistically, out of the 5 of us, who got that survey? I didn't.
I never got a survey.
Right. I never get a survey.
Nope.
So, and not saying that that's a biased reason, but if you want to, not 100%, if you want a very good statistical data off of surveys, you have to survey, I don't know, 90% of it.
Why aren't they surveying everyone? I think everybody's voice should have an opinion.
Money. It's a business. You got to remember that.
If it's online, you could do it easily. Online would be so much easier.
Okay,
just come to a chart.
But how many people are actually going to either hear about it or take the time to remember to do it, or to take the time to even do it?
Well, I report all my harvests online if I want to report.
But you only just started that when people started handing out fines. So that's what I'm saying here. Like, you have to be influenced to do something.
There is, but to kind of defend Cody here a little bit, they absolutely could probably reach more people.
Oh, I agree.
Via email, with all the email contacts that they have, and everything after that is completely automated. There's no cost. Like, all you have to do is create the Google form, and it automatically calculates whatever you need to know.
And like we were talking about this before we actually started recording. I brought up the point of every single one of us has to go in person to buy a license. I mean, you can do it online too, but as soon as you scan that credit card, it pops up with a survey, and it's not going to process or let you have the license unless you click the answers on the survey or say, I wish to not participate in the survey. So you're giving everyone that buys a license a chance to voice their opinion.
I agree.
And if you do it to where like 800,000 some people are buying their license, if you do pop up this survey as soon as you're buying a license, you're giving every single one of those people who are buying a license an opportunity to voice their opinion. And there's no reason like, oh, I forgot or I never saw it.
I agree. There's definitely ways they can, like you said, you have to go in person to buy your license. But by the looks of this survey, you know, it was quite a bit of questions in there, pretty lengthy, that you're not going to want to have every person do that, because how many times do people wait last minute to buy their license? You go to Walmart and there's a line a mile long waiting. But what I did like about this survey is there was no loaded question. It wasn't, do you support Saturday or Monday? Like, there was, they gave you like.
But what I'm saying is those loaded questions, you know, that short and sweet to the point.
Right, it is.
And
but
those are the ones you want to put in front of people, because that's great. Like, yeah, we see all the data. All this data is pretty much backing up their final decision, saying like, yeah, we made this decision before we surveyed, and people are still agreeing with us. Now, I think they did do a survey previous to the initiation of the Saturday opener, but I have not found that.
So there's two Facebook group battles that are going on. It's Pennsylvanians who support the Saturday and Pennsylvanians who support the Monday. Well, I got on just to see what was on the Monday because I joined the Saturday one. And what I saw on the Monday one was this guy who I don't know if who he created it or not. Moss, we were talking about it today, that guy that was doing the podcasts and everything. He did a Google survey and it was one question. Which day do you like opening on deer season? Monday or Saturday? So, I mean, I got on and voted Saturday, even though it was in the Monday form, but
But again, his data is skewed because he's only distributing it
exactly
probably to his people.
to that
If
group.
he would go and throw that group, that form into the for Saturday group, I would almost bet it's going to be neck and neck.
So basically, what's our census on the whole entire thing? Do we all want to go around the table and say our opinion?
Yeah, I'll start. I mean, this podcast was just to really get listeners to really think about their decisions. Really, the takeaway you need from this podcast is whatever your opinion is, it doesn't, it might affect me in the long run, but that's your opinion. That's why I have mine. Write to your representatives, voice your opinion, and hopefully that makes a difference. And if we all do that, we can really get a general consensus on what the PGC or our politicians need to do. And if that's what the consensus is, I'm for it.
I'll go next. I agree with Moss. Obviously I support the Saturday opener. I like it, but if we're gonna, there's actually it's comments at pa.gov is where you can send your messages to. That just goes to the Pennsylvania Game Commission, not necessarily the state representatives. But I like the Saturday. Right to the higher ups that are making these decisions, and if it's a Monday, it's a Monday, and we'll have to use vacation days. But Moss pretty much hit it right on the head. It's opinion versus opinion, whatever opinion you like the best, and you just have to live with the decision that comes with it.
I'm personally for the Saturday hunt because vacation is expensive. You don't get a lot of it. You got to use it wisely. So I think that it'll stay that way because there's not a lot of people that have a lot of vacation in the younger generation because we're just starting. And if we vote, we have a good chance of keeping it that way, but we will see how it goes.
I personally would like to see the Saturday stay, and in how it affects me, it's irrelevant. I'd be good with either Saturday or Monday, but I'm looking at it instead of how a lot of other people are looking at it, how it just affects them. Like, especially with this report, like in preferences, it's really about how it affects them. It's not so much about how we as hunters collectively should maybe feel, or how it's going to help all the other hunters in the state. And if it gives more opportunity for participation, that's what I'm all about.
No, that was very well said, and I want to piggyback off of that. I mentioned this, maybe 40 minutes ago. We're 15% of Pennsylvania's population. We shouldn't be fighting over, honestly, the dumbest things. Not that it's dumb. It's important to keep our traditions alive in Pennsylvania because we are losing it. But like Torn said, we gotta have a general consensus and benefit everybody.
So what Torn was saying, basically the way I'm for the Saturday is that basically, like he was saying, the PGC is always praising that they want to have more and younger people get into the sport. Well, if you're going to open on a Monday, there's less people that are going to be off to take their kids out hunting on the Monday. So the Saturday is better opportunity for for adults to take their kids out hunting. And even if they want to do Monday, cut it in half and do a Sunday. That would help out both parties. If you do a Sunday hunt, you have the Saturday that the people can go party at the camps, and you have your business people. The guy that says that his business is hurting, do a Sunday opener. That cuts your problem for the Saturday. For you, you're going to get your business on Saturday. People are going to come in on Saturday to party, to go to your businesses. Sunday, the people can hunt with their kids for one day. It's better than no day. So you're still getting the youth to get out and hunt. And then Monday, you can still take off Monday if you want to take off Monday to go hunt for the people that are stuck on the Monday hunt. So you still get your freaking 50-50. I think it honestly comes down to one thing and one thing only, is people are, like I said earlier, they want to kill bigger bucks, and they think that having the Saturday and the Sunday is killing off all these deer, and they're worried about the deer population. But in reality, I think that if we wouldn't give out the tags if we were actually worried about the deer population that much. So I don't know why they're worried about that. So basically, we're wrapping around, like I said, if we're not going to do the Saturday, do the Sunday so people have opportunity to take their kids out is what I'm basically getting at, and why I like the weekend opportunity.
I want to go with what Torrin said real quick too. I feel like Torrin, you hit the nail on the head, about as good as you can get it. I feel like not necessarily saying all the people, but I feel like a good portion of them are selfish with it. It's Monday, that's my tradition. That's this, like that's, and I get it. Traditions are traditions, but like you said, and I think Cody said it, the Pennsylvania Game Commission's about growing and getting, younger generations involved and keeping the sport alive through Pennsylvania, which is a rich hunting community. I think Saturday's your best bet with it, but again, it comes down to, it is what it is.
Leave with one final note. The biggest argument to keeping Monday is keeping tradition. And I think the most important tradition is making sure we are still hunting, we're still using that resource. But I think we're getting into too much detail of the specific day of the opener, where the tradition should be we hunt the opener. Not, I'm only going to hunt the opener if it's Monday. I'm only going to hunt the opener if it's Saturday. It just needs to be, we're going to hunt the opening day of PA rifle season. And that's what we should do.
Well, the tradition's already broke, so why the heck are we going back? For all these old people, that's my question for the people, or for Monday. We already broke that freaking tradition two years ago, so why are we going back to it? There's no reason why to go back. We already broke it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think those two topics were a great place to end, unless someone else has a final saying. Nope, no one else. All right. Make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. This podcast will be posted on Spotify and YouTube. So make sure you hit that follow and subscribe button. I feel like this was a good conversation to enlighten people on it. Basically comes down to voice your opinion. You can do it multitude of ways to do it. So just make sure you voice your opinion. Thanks for listening.